Welcome to the session on vagus. The specific learning objectives of this session are to describe the vagus nerve under the following headings. That is, the functional components of the vagus nerve, the intracranial and the extracranial course of the vagus nerve, the branches and the applied anatomy of the. The cranial nerves are classified as pure sensory, purely motor as well as mixed. The first, second and the eighth cranial nerves are purely sensory, whereas the third, fourth, sixth, ninth and 11th and 12th cranial nerves are purely motor. And the 5th, 7th, 9th and the 10th cranial nerves are said to be mixed. That is, they have both sensory as well as motor nerve fibers within them. Now coming to the vagus nerve is also called the wandering nerve. It is because it wanders, its course extends right from the head, neck and goes to the thorax and also is present in the abdomen. It is the 10th cranial nerve and it is a mixed nerve. That is, it has both sensory as well as motor fibers. It is the longest and most widely distributed cranial nerve. And it has three parts. It has a cervical part, it has a thoracic part, and next, the extracranial course of the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve, what happens is it descends down within the carotid sheath, and in the carotid sheath it passes along with the internal jugular vein, the 10th nerve and the common carotid sheath and the common carotid artery. The extracranial course of the vagus nerve in the thorax and the abdomen. The right vagus nerve descends behind the root of the lung, right lung, and then what happens is it forms a right posterior pulmonary plexus. Now it then descends in the posterior part or posterior surface of the esophagus and forms an esophageal plexus. From this esophageal plexus is derived the posterior vagal trunk, and this posterior vagal trunk, it passes through the esophageal opening of the diaphragm. Similarly, the left vagus nerve also passes behind the root of the left lung, and then it forms a left posterior plexus there. Then it descends behind on the anterior surface of the esophagus to form an esophageal plexus, from which is derived the anterior vagal trunk. This anterior vagal trunk, it passes through the esophageal opening of the diaphragm and then enters the abdomen. Now coming to the branches of the vagus nerve. Now the branches of the vagus nerve in the neck. Now in the neck, as we just saw, there is a superior ganglia, an inferior ganglia and a trunk. Now from the superior ganglia is derived the meningeal branch, which goes and supplies or innervates the dura mater of the posterior cranial fossa. And it also gives an auricular branch which goes and supplies the skin of the external ear. So this is also called the Alderman's nerve. Now from the inferior ganglia we have a pharyngeal branch which goes and supplies the muscles of the pharynx and the soft palate. Then from the inferior ganglia also arises a nerve which is called the superior laryngeal nerve, and this superior laryngeal nerve divides into an internal laryngeal nerve and an external laryngeal nerve. The external laryngeal nerve supplies the cricothyroid muscle, and the internal laryngeal nerve, it pierces the thyroid membrane and it supplies the mucosal lining of the larynx just above the vocal folds. And there are also branches to the carotid body from the inferior ganglia. Then apart from that, from the trunk of the vagus nerve arises cardiac branches which contribute to the cardiac plexus, and also arises the right recurrent laryngeal nerve. Please note that the right recurrent laryngeal nerve, it emerges in the neck, whereas the left recurrent laryngeal nerve in the thorax. See how this happens. If you observe the right recurrent laryngeal nerve, it winds. This is the vagus nerve here, and this is the right recurrent laryngeal nerve. It emerges from the right vagus nerve, and it just winds around the right subclavian artery and then ascends upwards. Whereas now what happens, where is this left recurrent laryngeal nerve? This is the left vagus nerve, and what happens is a branch of it winds around it just goes around the anterior surface of the arch of aorta, and it just winds around the arch of aorta and it ascends upwards. So this is the left recurrent laryngeal nerve. So remember, the right recurrent laryngeal nerve, it winds around the right subclavian artery, whereas that of the left side winds around the arch of aorta. So next, the branches of the vagus nerve in the thorax. So the left recurrent laryngeal nerve, as we just saw, it emerges by winding around the arch of aorta. And apart from that, there are also pulmonary branches and cardiac branches which arise from the vagus nerve in the thorax. The cardiac branches, they contribute to the cardiac plexus, and you also have the esophageal branches arising from the vagus nerve. Now, as we just saw, how does the vagus nerve enter the abdomen? By the anterior vagal trunk, piercing through or passing through the esophageal opening of the diaphragm. Now, the anterior vagal trunk, it gives rise to a gastric branch which supplies the anterosuperior surface of the stomach, and the larger branch of the gastric branch is what is called the nerve of Latarjet, and apart from that, it also gives rise to a hemorrhage. But the posterior vagal trunk also gives rise to the gastric branch, which supplies the postero-inferior surface of the stomach, and the larger branch of this is also called the nerve of Latarjet. And then it also gives rise to celiac branches which join the celiac plexus to supply the abdominal organs such as the kidney, gonads and pancreas. It also innervates the small intestines and the large intestines up to the junction of the right 2/3 and left 1/3 of the transverse colon. And lastly, to conclude with the applied anatomy, so syringing is a procedure wherein the doctor he syringes water into the external ear in order to gush out any impacted wax which might be present in the external acoustic meatus. Now this, usually what we need to do is, we should use warm water, otherwise it could irritate the auricular branch of the vagus nerve and could initiate a cough reflex, and sometimes it could also lead to cardiac arrest. And during thyroid surgeries, the recurrent laryngeal nerve is very often damaged, so care needs to be taken to avoid it. And lastly, for peptic ulcers which are intractable, selective vagotomy, that is the cutting of the vagus nerve, is performed, and the nerve of Latarjet is the nerve which is usually sectioned. Thank you.